How's everything going? What are you up to?
What makes you who you are?
I hope we don't just pick things up where we left them back in March. That will be an insult to those around us. But unfortunately, it seems to be a real possibility.
I am afraid that life will remain solitary like this for much longer. If the economy doesn't go back to normal, there will be massive disadvantages for me and my family to face. Fear doesn't affect my life very much. It tells me that I, myself, am not afraid of the future.
I am afraid that I can't be together with the people what I love. My emotions are more apathic than anything else. Home office and the impossibility of doing anything outdoors are becoming a normality, and people do not want to change anything anymore. You get used to this prison house and it slowly evolves into our everyday life.
Yes, this feeling of stagnation, of lack of use, of failure.
I am afraid of being lonely, which will surely lead to feelings that shouldn't even have to exist. Regardless, I rarely ever feel myself influenced because I can trust myself.
At the moment, I feel afraid to devote myself to the life. It doesn't really affect my life. It enriches it and inspires me to perceive what doesn't rest within love.
I need people that act together, have similar thoughts and opinions, listen to what others have to say, and respect the rights of other human beings. It doesn't happen everywhere, but there are many places on this planet where humans act together as one.
It's important to me to meet people. It gives me a vibrant feeling and cheers me up in general. I don't like to be alone because I am a communicative person.
Yeah, I generally like big groups of people. I'm really into getting to know as many new people as possible and introducing myself to others, meeting new personalities, or to combine the old ones with the new ones. I'm a pretty sociable guy. I like to go out often and interact with lots of different kinds of folks. And I love being together with interesting people.
Yes, but time passes by.
The situation here is totally crazy. Those who could depart are gone, and those who are still here stick to the rules, more or less. The government has completely failed this crisis. I'm doing well, considering the circumstances. My emotional life is like a roller coaster. There were moments where I was afraid to go out, which means staying inside for 10 days. No shopping for 14 days. And all that within 23 square meters. Now I have freed myself out of that. I'm filling out the exit permission ticket, and at 7 p.m. I start to walk around the block in a 1 kilometer radius for 1 hour. Totally crazy in every sense of the word.
It means that we all stick to rules. Here is a contact ban. It will not be argued or discussed. This government command is accepted without protest from almost everyone. Also include me. I stick to it. Nevertheless, I'm surprised that the currently freedoms are accepted so willingly.
Every era has its own situations. And that is how human beings differentiate themselves from other creatures. Under certain circumstances, they are always able to adapt.
How easily can someone be unplugged from your life? So many friendships are gone with the wind. People that we love can disappear out of your life in a blink of an eye. Humans can very easily find someone to love, but they can also lose them as quickly.
I already try to avoid social life as much as possible. Therefore, it isn't so important for me to lose people in the process of my peace of mind.
I would say I am afraid to be alone. It doesn't influence my love much, but sometimes it makes me feel lonely.
Loneliness, to me, is the feeling of not being heard, not being understood, and not having my needs be acknowledged. Another person can sit right next to me, but I'm still alone.
It is important to me to keep in contact with my loved ones and those that I want to surround myself with. I lived in a kind of social isolation for several months, and it led to lots of problems with my inner self. I'm not happy and cannot live in peace when I feel isolated.
I want to live my life to the fullest. And I wish for people around me to feel the same. And we can raise our collective consciousness together so that the world can reach a higher level.
The world has already changed, and it will keep on changing, but not for the better. The distance between people becomes a norm and a necessity. And economically, it would also get worse for everyone.
As a migrant, you are very familiar with what it's like to be a minority. It's intense and it's enough.
Yes, simple example. Lots of French people don't like Germans and vice versa. This hatred of foreigners goes back to the wars that happened between Germany and France in the last centuries. This reluctance has been passed on over generations through socialization and genes. There are epigenetic studies on this topic. That's why this tension still exists to this day, even though France and Germany have a mostly peaceful relationship with each other. It would be nice when this also could happen with the hygiene regulation in our current situation. But I guess this event hasn't been severe enough to consolidate to the same extent.
I can't find the true love again. But this doesn't really affect my daily life, except that I am too depressed to find it.
Do you think that this circumstance slowed our lives down to save us from falling into the abyss?
Do you still think it's so important to entertain your kids all the time?
What does it mean to you to be free?
Is a democratic social order in a country full of individualists always better than a healthy autocracy in a country with high levels of collective awareness?
What are you doing with our earth and world?
What aren't you allowed to do anymore? Is there a war going on or not?
Plain and simple. What do you need and what would help you?
I hope that the world will have a positive vibe afterwards, if it understands what isolation means. Besides, I hope that the people here in Bratwurst country might start to reflect on how privileged they are, because they don't have to live so isolated because of war and company.
I still think of the terrible passes I had to take when I illegally came to Europe. Progress of life. Yes, I feel afraid when I feel like my life is put on hold.
Touch me. And you touch a dry climbing plant. Feel the moisture of the evening, the noontime, the wind that gasped all around the stone pit of the city, through the wasteness of the steppe and the dead who gauge in my mind.
The most awful experience for me was when I lost a good friend in an accident when I was 17 years old.
My grandmother's funeral.
The death of my relatives.
The death of my father.
Unfortunately, I can't really remember.
The sudden death of my first husband.
My birth.
The terrible paths I took when I illegally came to Europe.
An unfortunate love which had to be given up because of great spatial distance.
Failure in school.
The exit out of the fairly innocent but Christian cult where I grew up.
Failure as a 7th grade teacher at this high school.
War.
Accident.
Cancer.
War.
War.
My birth.
Tell us more about yourself. The essence of your stories will be found between the lines.
When I was a little boy, I drove to the countryside every summer to visit my grandma. There were almost no other children, especially none of my age. I felt very lonely there. If there was someone I was interested in, they weren't interested in connecting with me. It made me feel a lot of resentment and grief. Then the book saved me. They also determined my profession later on.
I have a child and I want to be there for it. I want to see my child grow up. I want to help him in life. That is my bliss. I want to live in a world where people are not egoistic, but rather take care of each other, help each other, in a world where there is no rich and no poor.
Even when I was young, I thought that the life in the Stone Age must have been the easiest. Simply worrying about finding food every day and living together with the rural community without the civilization of nowadays. So many things are useless. I love meeting people, whether as individuals or as groups, when our energies match. I love to be alone. Alone.
I always saw myself in the duty of the general population. Consciousness can only be lived face to face. This leads to a singular common consciousness, a consensus of awarenesses, if you may. This is especially important right now. Being there consciously for others.
I am shocked by the collective consciousness in general. It followed the mass media relatively blindly. The social experiment was being successful. People still behaved like a flock of sheep.
Certainly, collective consciousness exists. The collective panic is a crazy thing. With its help, you can rule the world.
The invisible enemy always spreads fear. You get the feeling that you are no longer in the in the control of your life.
Ooh.
These world will vanish, but a new one will come to life. That will be a joy and a heaven of love, brotherhood, and equity.
Yes, it will. There will be more appreciation for each other and for nature. We will be more aware of what really matters.
That is a painful question for me. In my opinion, every society in the form of individual countries is trying to catch fish in murky water right now. The structures that have been dictatorial in the past will exercise even more dictatorship. Digital networks will rule the world even more. Every journey will now be undertaken in the aspect of dangerousness. Intolerance towards central nationalities will also increase. People will communicate even less offline. Mental diseases will grow. We will from a sick, transparent society. Something positive maybe. A few new professional fields will come up because of global networking, and the environment will be a bit cleaner.
Relationship will gain quality, and simply everything you do will be qualitatively better. But I'm scared by the general hysteria, the absence of a meaningful action in a certain country, but also in the whole world. I'm furious that they shut down the borders. And I'm sad that I'm not going to visit my hometown and my family there in the summer. I'm focused, apathetic, lethargic. That's not me.
I think we all would enjoy being together with others. Maybe we will react more sensitively to the high volume and the presence of our fellow human beings when we are allowed to be together again.
The general deceleration feels very pleasant. Also, spending a lot of time with myself gives me a good feeling as an introvert. I miss the personal encounters and closeness to the people who are important to me.
Are you happy?
What is happy?
How are you?
Do you love yourself?
How do you want to live? 3 wishes. You get 3 wishes.
What thoughts are going through your mind right now?
Which problems come to your mind again and again?
What good things are happening in your life?
What does your heart feel?
Where are you within yourself right now?
What about the situation is inspiring to you right now?
What are you afraid of?
I would rather not to ask such questions at the moment. I just want to talk about things about us, about me, about the world, and about tomorrow.
When was the last time when you admired the sunrise?
How are you really doing?
Through simple questions and answers, you wouldn't come closer to the situation. No, to understanding people from different cultural backgrounds.
What kind of book are you reading there?
Fukushima and the 2 world wars.
Conflict. Iran and the United States.
The Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
War. War and war.
9/11 in America.
Tsunami.
The downfall of communism and the military shooting at the civilian population.
Terrorism.
Airplane crash.
Economic collapse.
Nothing.
Arms exports from my home country.
Famine.
China.
Ukraine.
Palestine.
Russia.
Conspiracy theory?
I want to see if I have raised my children right or wrong. I want to write books. I want to go to the theater. I want to hold my children in my arms. I want to pass my love on.
In the energy and vibes that I feel. As long as I live to bring my light into the world and to heal.
Happy people forget too fast. Maybe there will be a few adjustments or people treat each other more consciously, more carefully. But in the long run, man is a creature of habit and will fall back into the same old mistakes. And regardless of whatever refers to any individual person or the collective whole.
I can't even remember anymore where the event took place and when and which. Yesterday, a few days ago, in the water, sky high, in the park. Was I even there?
Which probably means that we are ultimately one with life. That even I have become a part of the wrestling fabric where the skin is chafing and its colorless glaze has become secretly irritating.
Everyone has their own journey and their own purpose in life, as do I. I will walk my way as long as it takes, as long as the universe will let me walk on this earth. As soon as my journey in this life ends, my next life will begin. There are no loners. There are only people who cannot find a connection because they are in the wrong place.
Yes, the memory remains, and it can always be the engine for an attempt to live differently in this world. More connected, more intimate, more loving, more real.
Social isolation is terrible, Betsy. The longer it lasts, the more you just keep going on in circles.
For me, loneliness is more bearable than being in a society. When I communicate with nature, I become more energy and impulse for my work, for my creativity.
Touch me. You will feel what also exists without me and what can't offer me faith anymore. Neither me, nor the coat, nor my face. We are a faltering business. We are minus people.
What is the most important thing for you in the world?
Why do you think you were ever born?
What are your gifts? And what do you do with them so that in the end you can say you have accomplished your mission?
Shall we work together?
Shall we dig deep for pure water?